Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nice Your Nose. Yeah. We got all together. We are gonna hop right in. I mean, y'all know us by now. Y'all know our names. I'm Nika. We got
Felicia.
Felicia
Agree.
and Tori
Calvin.
and Calvin in the back. You see him sleeping.
Hmm.
But today we're talking about advice or precaution we'd give our younger selves. Watch out, girl, danger. Um, that we'd give our younger selves, knowing what we know today, having gone through things, having lived life, having matured, having learned a lot about ourselves and the world around us. What advice would you give to yourself? Let's say we'll do specific ages. Let's say 16, because that's kind of where you start to like, who am I? What am I? What advice would you give to your 16-year-old self? And then we'll do like 25. I think my 16-year-old self, I would tell her, you are stronger than you think you are. You're smarter than you think you are. Go with your first mind. Your gut is not wrong. I don't care the other pressures you're feeling. Um, how much do I want to say? As far as other people are concerned, do follow your dreams and don't let anybody deter you or talk you out of it. That's what I would tell my 16-year-old self. Stay the course.
Yeah. Set boundaries with people. I found that I have all through up, I would say up until now, being 40, I'm just now starting to set boundaries with people. If I could go back, I would start telling people no. Tell
Early.
people how you feel. Speak up for yourself.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would tell myself, girl, you ain't fat. That was because I was in dance and performing arts and ballet, and there was such a focus on personal aesthetics. And I had no idea what I looked like. I had no idea. I thought that, I wanted to do ballet. That was my dream. That's what I was doing since I was 9. And I was good at it. Like I was really, really good. And I thought I didn't look the part because I did, I had a chest, big titties running my family. Um, and I just thought I was obese and gross, and I thought that didn't think I was attractive. There was just so much about myself. I had no idea what I looked like. I didn't know that Black Barbie was my nickname behind my back. I had no idea. I just thought I was flat bootied, out of shape, out of body. I look at pictures now, I was bad. I'm still bad, but like I was so hard on myself at that age. And I wish that my family and myself wasn't so hard on myself, on me, and just to understand that I am beautiful. You are beautiful, as
Mm.
it that my 16-year-old self really needed to hear that, and she did not hear that at all. Not to her face.
Yeah. I would say the same thing. I was told I was beautiful a lot. I can't deny that. People would come to me like, oh, you should be a model, but I never believed them. Never. I always thought like, oh, they're just being nice. And then when your parents say it, it's like, well, it's my parents. Of course they're gonna say
Yeah.
it. And I never ever thought that I was actually beautiful, probably till I was like well into my 20s. Like, oh wait, okay, yeah, girl. And now that I'm 41, listen, you can't tell me
Shoot.
shit. Okay, you can't tell me nothing. But yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
What about, let's say you just graduated high school, your 18-year-old self, 17 or 18, and you're about to leave your parents' house or thinking about leaving your parents' house.
Sit your ass down. Don't leave.
Don't go there.
Unpack them bags and sit your black ass down. Here? All right. That's what I would tell myself.
That's
Where the
funny.
fuck you think you going?
Right, you just
If I could go back and just whisper in my ear real quick.
You
Baby.
ain't grown.
You don't want these bills. You don't want this life. Stay home with your mama.
That's funny. No, it was the opposite for me. And I actually at 18 graduating high school, I think my actions of leaving, like I packed up and moved out a month after graduation. I was like, I'm out. Was the best thing I could have did for myself. And I wouldn't have told myself to do things any differently. I would have just been cheering on myself, be like, go girl. I think the only thing I would have done was just like spend more time alone to clear out all the religious fog
Mhm.
that my parents had thrown on me throughout my entire childhood, because that actually messed me up in my adulthood a lot. There was still
Yes.
a lot of holdover stuff and religious guilt, unnecessary, illogical religious guilt that did nothing but inflict trauma in my
Mhm.
20s, because
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to release that. So the thing
Mm-hmm.
was that, but again, leaving home immediately after graduation was the best thing I could have did for myself.
Yeah. I left 2 weeks after I graduated and went to school, and I don't regret that at all. But I would definitely go back and be like, "Hey, listen. So when the fall semester come, there's this guy. He gonna come up to you, and he's gonna ask you your name, and he's gonna strike up a conversation. You're gonna exchange numbers. Don't answer the phone." Now, let me say sidebar, asterisk, I do not regret my son.
Yes.
Okay. He would not be who he is without the combination of me and his father. However, I definitely be like, hey, girl, slow your roll.
Hey,
Your cooch
hey.
is getting hot. Cooch is getting hot. Cool it off. Cool it off. You're
Breathe.
throwing it back and he catching it. Stop. Stop it now.
You can spray water.
Cool it
Dish
down,
yourself in
girl.
the face. Now
Cool
get a
it.
water hose.
Cool
Cool
it.
off real quick.
You ain't in love. You think you in love. You not in love, ma'am. You ain't in love, ma'am. And
Yes,
I
I
used to
did.
get so mad when my mom would tell me that you don't love him. Ugh. I would get so mad when she would tell me that. But now I'm like, yeah, girl, you wasn't in love, girl. It was your first
No.
boyfriend. You was infatuated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how to slow
Yeah.
it down, ma'am. And choose a major that you actually want to do, because like our previous episode, we talking about interest and stuff. If I'm not interested, I realize that about myself. I'm not gonna put any effort into it if I don't want to do it. Doing it
Mm-hmm.
out of like, well, let me satisfy, because Nigerians, doctor, lawyer, engineer, those are your choices. Okay, well, I guess I'll do engineering. No interest in it whatsoever. Failed all my classes pretty much. And yeah, no, do the sociology, do the anthropology like you originally wanted to do, and you'll be fine. And tell that man no.
No. No.
Rap.
You
That's
know,
what I
you
tell
know
my
what's
18-year
funny?
old self.
I remember when I was donating plasma, and I had already met my daughter's father. And I gave him my number, but I had no intention on calling him because he had given me his number too. I had no intention on calling this man because why? No. He called me. I was sitting there and I looked at my phone. And when I tell you, there was like this internal battle. And there was like this person telling me, don't answer the phone. That could have been the future me. You
I was like,
never
that could
know.
be
That
you
could have
now.
been. Yeah. So
You
I
now.
need
And you heard it. You heard the
to.
whisper. Like, what is that?
And I ignored it. It was literally, and I saw all it was like a 5 alarm fire. Woo, woo, woo. Don't do it. What did my dumb ass
Yeah,
do? I
that's
answered the phone.
fine. I'll just
But
put my
yeah,
fire coat on.
yeah.
It's fine.
Mhm. I'll carry buckets of water. It's
It's fine.
okay. But like Nick said, I love my daughter. And when I tell you this girl is doing the exact opposite of what I did, and it's making me so proud. I am here for it. I'm loving it. Don't rush out there and do this shit we call life. You have plenty of time. This shit's ghetto. Use me while I'm here. I'm so happy that she decided not to leave. She's home. She's done with school. Yes, she just has
Yay.
one more state exam to take. But yeah, I think that was me, y'all, telling the younger
Me.
me. Don't
Yeah, I have
do
one
it.
where I was
Trying to
telling
set off alarms and stuff. And
No. One thing I think I would tell myself too at 18, because I was still also performing, is don't sit back on your heels just because you got talent. I was so used to just being naturally good at everything that I did, especially performing, that I, I look back on it now and I can be honest with myself and say I didn't push myself enough. I definitely sat back on my natural talent, but hard work is always going to outdo natural talent. And I gave up on myself in a lot of places and spaces. I could have just, if I would have pushed a little bit more, if I would have sat through the frustration and tried again, I think I would have been better for it as a performer. Um, but yeah, just I wish I would have told myself it's okay if you're not naturally good at something the first time around. Eventually you'll get it and you'll continue to shine. I would do something, not be good at it, and then
Stop. Hmm.
just stop, just give up, not audition again, not go back to that audition, not try and take classes to get better at that specific style of dance. And I limited myself. So I think that that's something at 18 I would have told myself too. Like, don't just rely on natural talent. Because I mean, it'll get you far, but you could go so much further if you just put in more work around the learning the technique and learning things that you're not necessarily good at. You would have
Hmm.
become good at them. So it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
You would have told her keep going, work harder.
work
Yeah.
harder, work a little bit harder. I was
That's
working hard,
definitely
but I could have pushed a little bit more.
Yeah.
that's definitely good advice. What about everything has happened how it's happened, exactly how it's happened, but now you're 25. Everything has
What
happened
was I at
exactly how it's
25?
happened, but you're 25 now. I'll say for me,
Yeah.
had my son at this point, was finally out of the relationship with his dad. And I would tell myself that again, you're stronger than you think. You're gonna have some really hard times that come up that you're some things you're not even gonna talk to anybody about. You're gonna keep it to yourself. But just know that it gets better. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Um, get them suicidal thoughts out of your mind. Your life is worth living. You have someone to live for, someone that's looking up to you, looking forward to seeing you, your child. And things are gonna look up and you're gonna look back and be like, wow, I did it. I got through it, and my child is okay in the process. Like you're not gonna ruin him. Don't be paranoid because you're paranoid that you're gonna ruin him. You're not gonna ruin him. He'll be fine. So yeah, that's what I tell my 25-year-old self.
Mm,
For me, I think
25.
you
Hmm?
want to go. You want to go?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, for me, just say no. Like, just say no. My personality type, I'm a giver. I'm a giver and I'm a lover and I love to love and I love to see people I care about happy and comfortable and as carefree as I can possibly make them when they're with me. And when that came to men, that was probably my downfall in being over over ingratiating to the people around me to the point of draining myself without asking anything in return. Not that it's tit for tat, but I had no boundaries with the people that I cared about. And some of those people took advantage of that. And I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know I should say no. All I knew was that it felt good to give, but also that it hurt to give. I think I would have told myself, start saying no more if you don't actually have to do that if you don't want to. Not that anything like super like physically traumatic happened, but a lot of emotional trauma happened because I put everything and everybody else before me and I end up living other people's lives for them as well as myself. And that's unfair to them, but that was also really unfair to me. I never considered myself. I think 25-year-old me didn't say no, girl. You don't actually want to do that. Just
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
be okay if you don't do it for them.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
Now, I
part.
Yeah.
didn't believe in people. I didn't believe anybody themselves. The only way they could survive is if I did it for them. And that was actually a very selfish thought pattern of me. And I think a lot of givers too. I think that's one, if it seems unselfish, but it's actually very selfish to not trust people with their own life journey. And you think the only way they'll be okay is if you do it for them. And I had to learn the hard way that that's not the case. You have to trust people to live their own life, whether they make right decisions or not. You have to give them
Mhm.
that opportunity to
Yes.
Yeah.
for them.
Yes. Um, Same. Setting those boundaries. I had to think back for a minute. That was a time where that's about the time where I came out to my family too, and getting involved with someone who I was with for a long time and did not set boundaries. And I would definitely say no. You don't have to do.
Yeah.
And just like you, Tori, I was that type of person. I love to love and I love to give and being and I'm gonna try not to cry. My goodness.
Don't cry.
I feel like being in that relationship for so long and giving so much, I'm not that person anymore. I don't want I don't have anything left to give because I gave so much and I didn't say no and I didn't set those boundaries.
Yeah.
And even so much so, like I love this person tremendously, like head over heels and would have done anything for them. But I probably would tell myself, don't do that. That is going to damage you to a place where it's going to be hard to come back from.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I would probably tell myself the same thing, but more so in family relationships, in particular my mother. Um, I would probably tell myself because when I got pregnant with my older son, like I remember it was a whole bunch of stuff, but one of the things she had said to me that was very hurtful was like, "You're no better than such," and she was naming all these people that we know that had children out of wedlock. You're no better than such and such. You're no better than such and such. And I didn't realize until she said that she even thought down on other people in that way just because they had a baby out of wedlock. And then knowing that she was now putting me down there too. And it made me question like whether she actually even loved me because then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes along with that. And then I found myself like when it came to going to church and doing all these things, whatever she asked me to do, I do it because in my mind, subconsciously, it was like I was trying to redeem myself in her eyes. You know what I'm saying? And it also made me feel like the love was conditional because as long as I was making good grades and following all the rules, then it's, not that everything was perfect because it definitely wasn't. There was definitely stuff going on, but it was like once I had that baby, got pregnant, it was just like I'm a horrible, whore that she raised because that's literally what she said. I raised a whore. And there's, you're no better. She even questioned whether I even love my child one time, like a whole bunch of stuff. So I would definitely tell myself to set the boundary. Um, and don't worry yourself with trying to redeem yourself in anyone's eyes and hers or anybody else's because you are good enough and you had a baby. It happens all the time. Yeah, it's out of wedlock and it goes against the Christian value, whatever. But your life literally is not over. It's going to keep going. And that child is going to be probably the biggest blessing that you ever had in your life. He was not a mistake because that was another thing. Oh, mistake, mistake. He's not a mistake. And I would now it's like I don't even know what life was. I can barely remember what life was like before him. You know what I mean? Like he was the biggest blessing and gift that I could have ever gotten. And I've said it before. I feel like he was God's way of showing me what unconditional love is like. Because your children, they just love you. They don't know nothing about right,
Mhm.
wrong. They just love you. They just want to be with mommy, and that's it.
Mhm.
And it showed me like, wow, okay, somebody just loves me, just me being me. And he went through all my growing pains with me. And still to this day, he'll come like he did this morning, come and randomly give me a hug. I love you, mom. And that's like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would tell my 25-year self, cut out all that noise, girl. Cut out all that all that
Yes.
stuff, the religious stuff, the all cut all that noise out, all that, because a lot of the whole so-called religious stuff is if we that's a whole other topic. We don't really
Yeah.
line up all the way either, but we're just gonna say that. Line up with the Bible, like, no, some things y'all talking about ain't the same as what I'm reading. So, like, what but that's a whole other topic. But yeah, that's definitely another thing I would do is set the boundaries
Yes.
for sure.
That seems like to be a consensus here. Like we set boundaries.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like you, Felicia. I'm just now learning in the last, probably 5 years or so to how to do that and to
Yeah.
be okay with people's reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Yeah.
bigger one. You have to be okay with people being upset or disappointed or in disagreement with how you want to move forward because it may not be in their best interest, which
Mhm.
that's the responsibility about their best interest, not
Mhm.
yours. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the hardest part is being okay with other people's disappointment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think once you realize that, like we said in the previous episode, you're not obligated family or not, you're not obligated to anyone and they're not obligated to you. It kind of releases that burden from you and from them,
Yeah.
quite frankly, because then you're not doing that to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it, great. I appreciate everything you do, but you are not required because when
Exactly.
die, you're gonna die alone. I'm not gonna be there,
Mm-hmm.
helping you out or, anything like that. So um
Yeah.
yeah.
I recently had that, with family, having to with family, and you think, oh, this is my family, this is my blood. That always don't matter. Family is the people you bring into your life that are
Mhm.
there. You guys, I consider you guys family. My family, my blood, I literally had to do like this.
Yeah.
And I came to that realization because I'm like, my mom's been sick for what, 7 years now? 7 years. Nobody calls. Nobody calls to say, hey, how she's doing, see how she's doing, or to check on me. Like, what am I doing? Why am I keeping those lines of communications open for what? So I went through my phone. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Because why are
Yeah.
you here? That's yours. Because I looked at it like that's my mom, and I've known her as my mom for the past 40 years, but that is your sister. Y'all grew up in the same house. You know more about her than I do. And you don't even think to say, let me call my niece to check on my sister, or let me call my cousin to check on my aunt. No? Okay, cool.
And if something happens, they'll be like, well, why didn't you tell us?
I'm not telling no. I kept one
No.
family member's name in my phone who I'm not going to say on here because I think she might watch this podcast. But I kept one name in my phone. And if anything is to happen to my mom, well, we all know it will. But when something happens to my mom, I'll notify her and she can notify everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get
Yeah.
that.
And I've said it a whole bunch of times. I know I've said it to y'all like outside of this, but I 100% know that there is a God. We call it, whatever you want to call it. I call God
Mm-hmm.
because with everything that has happened, each one of y'all was put in my life at a specific time. And I'm not gonna cry at the right time. And I promise y'all, I know y'all tell y'all, but y'all don't even know what y'all have done for me. Like seriously. And I'm gonna
Oh,
stop
so we're gonna
talking.
cry right now. So we're
Nope,
good.
nope,
That's
we're
what
not.
we're
We're
gonna
not. We're
do.
not gonna
Okay.
cry. Y'all have no idea. Yeah, I know I say it sometimes, but y'all literally have no clue the impact and how much you have helped me in different ways at different periods of my life, whether I told you what was going on, or not. So I firmly believe that God literally everything that has happened, my steps was right where they were supposed to be. Because had I not did this, then this would have never happened. Had I not did that, this would have happened. I never would have went to PNC Bank. I never would have went to Buddy Taylor Middle School where I met you. You know what I'm saying? So every step literally has been ordered, and God was like, "Yeah, I know what's about to happen. Let me just go ahead and put her here. Let me go ahead and put her here. Yeah, she gonna be there. Yeah, she gonna randomly call her. She don't even know you crying that day, but she gonna call you. I mean, she gonna make you feel better. She don't even know it. You know. So yeah. Anyway, yay.
So I need our future selves. If y'all listening, I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and can y'all whisper just a little bit louder? You know, I already know I can't hear that well anyway. Can you just whisper from the future just a little bit loud? I promise I'll listen. I promise.
Yes.
I promise. I will listen. I will heed whatever y'all got to say, future selves. I just need y'all to
I'm not
speak.
hard-headed no more, I promise.
Not hard headed. Speak up a little louder. I promise I'm listening. Listening.
Well, I'm telling y'all what y'all future self is saying. Let me tell you, I'm a whisper. It says that it gets better.
It gets better. It gets better.
Yay, it gets
Okay.
better.
All
It gets
right.
even better. That's what your future
I'm
self
okay
is
with
saying.
that.
Don't worry about
I'm
that,
okay with
girl.
that.
It seemed like a lie. It ain't a lie. Trust me. It gets better.
Okay. All right.
All right, y'all. And Calvin was like, all right, y'all. Enough talking. It's time to go.
Y'all done.
He yawning.
You can't be doing all that. You can't do that on
He
camera.
said y'all talking too much. Like y'all ain't done
Stop.
yet.
And he looking right at you like, is you done?
Uh-huh.
Ma'am?
There's sensors and algorithms that we
Because
have
I'm
to.
trying to cuddle and you doing the most.
Oh, you licking your little cat balls
That's her
in.
cat, y'all, in the background, if y'all are listening.
All right, we go back and forth, but he know better. You can't be just
Oh, he
opening
flicking his tail up too. Like you heard what I said. He flicked his tail up.
Yeah, he did.
We're gonna talk later. All right.
All right, y'all. That's all we got for you today. We'll see you next time. Peace out.